This is Marietta from the Business Champion Show. Every week, I sit down with people who build our communities, small business owners, dreamers, and doers who turn challenges into opportunities. Their journeys remind us that success is about heart, courage, and connection. Join me as we celebrate the champions among us, right here in Connecticut and beyond. Visit thebusinesschampion.com and be part of our growing community. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to The Business Champion. I'm your host, Mariette Kammerer. Collaboration is not coffee, it's a build. Not everyone who shows up is ready to build, is our topic today. Collaboration has become one of the most misused words in business because a lot of people show up, but very few are actually ready to build. Pretenders love the conversation, they love the feeling of being included, and they love being near momentum. But when it's time to decide, commit, invest, and execute, they fade. Not because they're bad people, but because they never came to build. They came to belong. And in business, belonging doesn't create results. Building does. Please visit us on thebusinesschampion.com or on YouTube at The Business Champion Show. Let's get started. You're tuned into The Business Champion. I'm your host, Mariette Kammerer. Let's look at this collaboration and why the word is so confusing. The problem is that people use the word collaboration to describe various different things, and that's what we want to dive into. Here are three meanings people usually mean when they say, we like each other, let's stay in touch. That's a social collaboration. And what this really means is we have coffee meetings, brainstorming, friendly conversations. We should do this again someday. We've all done that. This is fine, depending on what level you're at. But we've done the social collaboration, the coffee meetings, the brainstorming, the friendly conversation. Let's do this again real soon. Okay. So there is no product, no deadline, no ownership. It's a connection, not a collaboration. And folks, that's okay. Depending on you're new in business, depending on your level, no problem. Everybody starts at some point. I've done this. No problem. Then we have the exposure collaboration. You show me your audience and I will show you mine. And this includes guest swapping, cross-posting, shout-outs, interviews. So where both partners have an established audience, and that's cool. That's really cool. That means they have walked the path a little bit. So that's really nice. That's good. So this is useful, but not building anything. We're just swapping. When the posts stop, everything stops. So we need to really think about all of this. So you show me your audience, I'll show you mine. It's not building anything. So when the post stops, everything stops. Okay, let's move on. Structural collaboration, that's the real one. We're building a real thing together. And this includes a defined offer, a real audience, a product or program, a revenue model. This is important for your audience to hear. So this is not something about being wealthy. It's about whether they're willing to put something real on the table. Time can be invested. Money can be invested. Skills can be invested. But if someone won't risk any of them, that is not a partner. That is a passenger. And that's it. We've all had that. People have to invest time, money, and skills. That's the real collaboration. Now, Something that has not existed before, that is a build. Most people think they are collaborating, but they're actually just socializing or trading attention. That's a good one. Socializing or trading attention. Only one type creates businesses, income, and legacy. That's just the one I just mentioned, which is the structural collaboration. And really, here now it comes why money matters in the build. And let's be clear about something uncomfortable. It's a real build, and in a real build, money is not about wealth, it's about commitment. People don't commit, they won't give you the money. There will be no money. I've had that. I've been in business for over 41 years. It's so true. Someone who won't invest real money into a shared project is telling you something, whether they mean it or not. They're saying, I'm not sure this will work. I don't want to risk anything. I want upside without downside. This is not collaboration. This is spectating. Why this is a red flag when someone doesn't invest money. Three dangerous things happen. They don't feel the loss. If it fails, they lost nothing. You lost time, labor, reputation, and momentum. So they don't show up with urgency. They overpromise because they have nothing at risk. It's easy to say, we should do this. This will be big. I'm in. Words are cheap when there is no skin in the game. They become critics instead of builders. People who didn't invest money often feel entitled to opinions, but not responsibility. They second guess, they nitpick, they stall decisions because they didn't pay to play. I don't let anybody without without pay to play. I've done that in the past. We've all had startup businesses and we walked a little path and no. Today, if somebody wants to go from A to B, they want to start a business, they want to be in business. And let's say they're totally new. We have to make sure that they invest money in our help. Unless you want to be a mentor and you want to do this pro bono, that is fine too. I'm just telling you what I have experienced and what works for me. People don't appreciate, many people don't appreciate. Very few people appreciate. There are people out there that from time to time they seek advice, which I do too, and especially if it's in the technical arena. And I have this wonderful person who does help me, but then we part again, and then I get to install it, get to work my ideas, get to create my ideas. Um, but that's the extent of it. And that's the only relationship we have together. And advice, I seek advice and I get advice. And that's it. Anything else I don't need from the person. And if I do need it from the person, then I will ask for it. And sometimes the person gives it very freely, and I really don't want that because that thinking is totally off from mine. Just give me specific advice to what I need that particular moment. Let's say if it's a technical things, and there are always technical things that come up. So, um, collaboration, once you really dive into the topic, I guess we don't stop enough times to really think about this whole thing. Um, I don't want to use the word collaboration. because here's what it means. They're different levels. Not everyone is at the same place in their professional life. Some people are building, some people are coasting, some are totally lost. Some people are tired, and some people are afraid to start over. And if you don't understand which one you're dealing with, you will misread everything that happens next. How true that is. When we first started, we didn't sit down as new people. Okay, now we need to meet some new people and let's check them out if they're building, or if they're just coasting or if they're lost. I mean, who did that? Only an experienced person knows how to do that. Once you have walked the path, how true that is. And then we still go back to our old patterns unless you get a total makeover. So there are 5 questions every serious builder must ask. What level are they actually at? Not what they say, what they've done. How long have they been in business? What have they built? What have they sustained? Because past performance shows present capacity. Do they have real skills or just stories? And I can tell you a story or two. Let me tell you. Here's what matters. Can they produce? Can they deliver? Solve problems? Execute under pressure? Or do they only know how to talk about what they could do? And this is so important to me because I am a producer. I do deliver. I solve problems and I execute under pressure. Now, that's a person who has a seasoned person who has endured, who has withstood. So they can produce, they deliver, solve problems, and execute under pressure. And there are just a few of us that can do that. Others have given up in the meantime. They've gone on to something else where there's no pressure or no problem solving because they weren't good at it. And they certainly couldn't work under pressure. You know how that goes. We all understand that. Doesn't mean you're bad people. You just have learned how you tick. And being able to deliver, you learned about yourself that you couldn't deliver. Why not? Well, because of all the other things you haven't worked out with yourself. You're not on time. You get sidetracked too easily. You're not focused. And you certainly figured out you don't want to produce. Nah, you just want to follow somebody else's concept. That's very, very important. All of this. Very, very important. Not bad people. You just figured out your path. You don't really like to solve problems. You're not good at it. And when there's pressure, and there's always pressure. Trust me, there's always pressure. You fold, you get nervous, you get sick, you physically get sick. That means you need to get out of what you're doing. And you certainly don't want to produce. I enjoy producing over and over and over again. I just love that. So between these 4 things, produce, deliver, solve problems, execute under pressure, I love it. It fits my natural. It really does. So then moving on with this, we're still figuring out if we're compatible with somebody. Um, how do they think? Do they think long term, or are they one of those day by day workers? Um, do they understand systems, respect structure, accept accountability? Now we have lost some of the people already because especially the new people, you're overwhelmed. And if you have enough passion in whatever you do and you hang in there, you will learn. This will all come on your path. So, but you don't have that right to start. ready, set, go, and you know all of this. Absolutely not. So, and most people chase ideas, resist discipline, avoid responsibility, and resist discipline. It starts with you. You know that you don't get up consistently. You're not working consistently. We know all of this. Well, I have to bring the daughter to school. I had a wonderful man that I met. And when I say wonderful, I liked him as a person. And he was a painter. He painted houses, inside, outside, but specifically, he was very detailed, which meant he is perfect for indoor work and very specific details where another person just comes in, okay, you want the room painted, you want the walls painted, and off it goes and it's done. This guy, for days and months, he can be working at one room at the molding and this and that, where you even saying he's still here. It's the true story. It's a very true story. And he detailed cars. That's what he was doing before. And when you detail cars, you have to have the patience and the mindset to think about, oh my God. But he was perfect for this painting that and we hired him. And I have to tell you, he overstayed. He overstayed. And the family even got nervous with him. But here's the thing. This person would never fit into a regular routine in a regular painting job. He would hold up the whole crew. The whole day wouldn't get anything done. So um, here's the thing where he was subject to self-sabotage. He did not work consistently. If he worked consistently, um, he and he didn't. And the problem was he had to bring this person to school, this one, this and that, So now, in his thinking, he only wants to work 2 days a week. The rest of the time, who knows what he's doing? But he's not on the job. So he put together his own little model that works for him. And you know what? When you don't work consistently, you're done with me. That's it. I'm done with you. That's it. I don't want people like that around me. So, nor do they function well under pressure. As soon as the customer would say, "Well, I want you to finish this because we need the rooms. We're planning on different things here in the house, and we need it finished." The person couldn't even work under pressure. They just la la la. No, open-ended. This is what I'm saying. Open-ended stuff. Let me move on. So, do they actually love what they're doing? People who have lost their passion, they hoard opportunities, avoid effort, don't want to share, don't want to build. I have met very few people that want to build. They're rare because building has to be learned, designing has to be learned, architecting it has to be learned, executing has to be learned. This is all what I do. So you have to have the mindset and the desire for it. They want comfort, not creation. I want creation. That's why barter fails with them. I'll do this if you do that, but nothing really moves. I don't want to barter with anybody. I've done that in the past very few times when I was, fairly new with what I was doing. And that was okay. Most of the people don't deliver as quickly as I do. And that is an irritant. Where I have to actually ask them, can you finish this by this and that? And they never do. So I don't like to barter, and I don't like to work for no pay. Absolutely not. Those days are over. They're long gone. Do they have direction or are they just drifting? Some people are at a crossroad. They're tired of their old identity, but afraid of a new one. They don't want to build, they want to attach. That's dangerous in a partnership. Folks, I don't need anybody that needs to attach to me. I can't work like that. Somebody who can add to what I'm doing is very important. Somebody that can alleviate a few things. Um, that's important to me, and that will work for me. So we're talking about collaboration. So you're not just choosing a partner, you're choosing their energy, their habits, their ambition, their fears, their unfinished business. Let me repeat that. When you're choosing a partner, you're choosing their energy, their habits, their ambition, their fears, their unfinished business. And we're talking about business, and just a thought came to my mind. I said, "Oh my God, that's just like in a marriage when you get married, and how when we were younger, how carelessly I look at it now, being a little old, how carelessly we just said, 'I love you.' I think this can work and we're excited." And you know what? I still get that way in business today. I see somebody I like, I see the potential, and I'm overexcited about them. And then when I go into details, then I see the flaws. And you might say, yeah, it's always like that. Well, find a person, first of all, that you like, who has the potential or maybe even the experience. So, um, all of that comes into our build. So the real question isn't, do I like this person? It is this person actually in a season of their life where they can build? Because not everybody who shows up is ready to build. Yeah, I know. I learned that too because when I see potential in people, I always get excited, and that's just the way I am. And knowing not everybody can be like that, but I still, you know, look, I'm human. So what we're learning is you don't need a partners, you need a mentor and exposure. So for people to reach out, you need a mentor and exposure. So that's level one, because you want insight, shortcuts, feedback, perspective. So level two, you're practicing. You don't need an investor, or you need a collaborator. You need collaborators and reps. You need to reach out to people who will work with you, people who will test things with you. Because what you want is experience, portfolio, proof, confidence. Because you are building credibility. Level three, you're producing. You don't need talkers, you need operators. You reach out to people who can deliver, people who meet deadlines, people who can scale. What you want is reliability, systems, speed, because now you're building revenue. Level four, you're scaling. You don't need helpers. You need strategic partners. You reach out to people who will bring capital, people who bring audiences, people who bring infrastructures. What you want is leverage, distribution, growth. Why? Because now you're building reach and impact. And level five, your legacy. You don't need partners, you need allies. You reach out to people who share values, people who care about meaning, people who want to leave something behind. Because what you want is stewardship, shared vision, continuity. Why? Because now you're building something that outlives you. Those are just little tips, folks. That's all for today. I'm Mariette Kammerer. Till next time.